Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful story about communication and survival. It's a lesson, really, in how thinking outside the box can save a whole community, and it all kicks off in a place where every single voice truly matters.
And this really gets to the heart of our story, doesn't it? It's not about who's stronger, it's about who can communicate. I mean, what happens when progress for one group means destruction for another? That's exactly where we begin.
So, Section 1, A World in Harmony. Before we can really get to conflict, we have to understand what's actually at stake. Just try to picture a world in perfect balance, a place where every living thing is connected in this delicate web.
Imagine it, this huge canopy of trees reaching for the sky, a river that runs crystal clear right through the middle, and the air is just filled with the sounds of birds. This wasn't just some patch of land, it was like a single living, breathing thing.
All right, so first, let's meet Chinku the deer. Super fast, really graceful, but he's also the one who's super sensitive to any tiny change. You can think of him as the jungle's early warning system, the first one to feel that something's off.
And here's Fan Fan the fox. He's the planner, the brains of the operation, always thinking 3 steps ahead, connecting the dots, and figuring out the how. A total natural when it comes to strategy.
And this is Gopa the frog. His whole life is tied to the water, which makes him the absolute expert on the river, the rain, pretty much the health of the entire ecosystem. His croak is like the pulse of the jungle.
And last but not least, Usha the owl. She's a creature of the night, so she sees things that everyone else misses. She's got this calm, wise vibe that just makes her the natural leader and advisor for the whole community. She's the one who always sees the bigger picture.
So, now we're at Section 2. The unwelcome visitors. Because this perfect harmony, well, it's about to get seriously disrupted. This is the moment the outside world shows up and everything starts to change.
At first, the signs were really subtle. Chinku noticed the air just felt hot and heavy, not right. Gopu could feel the river's edge pulling back, which was a huge red flag. And at night, Usha started seeing something she'd never seen before. Weird, flickering lights way off in the distance. It was like the whole jungle was holding its breath.
Well, the mystery didn't last long. Usha flew closer and saw it. Humans. They had flashlights and machines, and they were putting marks on the trees. Fan Fan knew immediately what that meant, and it was terrifying. These weren't just visitors. They were here to take their world apart, one tree at a time.
Panic, of course, starts to spread like wildfire, but Usha, with her calm authority, pulls everyone together. And her wisdom here is so key. She immediately changes the game. It's not about a physical fight. They'd lose that. It's an intellectual challenge, one they could actually win. She realizes the problem isn't the human strength, it's their ignorance.
Which brings us to Section 3, a plan of wisdom. Instead of just scattering in fear, the animals huddled up. And this is where their story takes this amazing, totally unexpected turn. They go from being reactive to being incredibly strategic.
And this is where Fan Fan the strategist comes in with a pretty radical idea. He figures, look, if we just try to scare the humans away, it'll just make them think the jungle is a dangerous place they need to conquer. The real way to win, he argues, isn't through fear, it's through education. What if they could make the humans understand?
So their plan, as you can see here, is actually brilliant. It's a 3-pronged attack that goes from spying to direct engagement. And notice who they're targeting in step 2, the children. That's so smart. It's not just about teaching, it's a clever appeal to the next generation's empathy, kind of a weak spot in the adult's armor. Okay, so the stage was set, the plan was in motion. But now comes the really critical part, the interaction. I mean, could a frog and a deer really change the minds of people holding axes? So Gopu hops onto a little stone and starts his lesson. But he doesn't talk about animal homes. No, he talks about something the humans definitely understand, water. He explains how without these exact trees, the rain will stop coming and the river, which is their water source too, would eventually just dry up. Then, Chinku steps forward. He moves so gracefully between the trees, pointing out birds' nests, fruit hanging from the branches, and even the air that they're all breathing. He's not just a deer anymore. He's like a living, breathing exhibit of how the forest provides for everyone.
Finally, Fan Fan brings it all home. He takes this complex idea of an ecosystem and boils it down to a symbol everyone can get.
He just uses his tail to draw a circle in the dirt, illustrating the circle of life. He makes it so clear that if you break one part of the circle, like taking out the trees, it doesn't just hurt the animals. The whole system collapses for everyone, humans included.
And then, this is the moment, the one that changed everything. It wasn't an argument, it wasn't a threat, it was just a simple, honest question from a child to her father. And that one question completely flipped the conversation from being about resources to being about morality and consequences.
And that leads us to Section 5, a shared future. That one question just completely reframed the problem. It wasn't about winning or losing anymore, it was about finding a way for everyone to move forward, together. You could feel the human perspective was finally shifting. And here, you can just see it in the leader's words. He finally gets it. He doesn't see a bunch of logs for a warehouse anymore, he sees a living, breathing home. The animals' crazy strategy worked perfectly. They didn't win a fight, they won over a mind by sharing their wisdom.
And this wasn't just talk. This realization led to a real, tangible agreement. Together, they set up protected zones, they made a new rule to plant trees before cutting any down, and best of all, they made the jungle school a permanent thing, a nature camp. It was a promise to make sure this lesson was never, ever forgotten. And that kind of leaves us with this final thought. The whole story suggests that maybe our greatest resource isn't something we can chop down and sell, but something we have to cultivate, the wisdom to just listen. It makes you wonder, right? How many other important voices are out there, just waiting for us to learn their language?